the movie with two people having completely different routines. The woman, Laura, is a pretty lawyer that wants to finally get a promotion after years of working hard. She resides in a big city, and her days are all about working and doing her best. The man, Chip, is a handsome captain of a boat on a paradisiac island. He loves going to the beach, relaxing, and getting in touch with nature. They are complete opposites, but something unites them. They used to be best friends. Laura used to stay on Sapphire Island with Chip, but she moved when they were 12 years old. She missed him growing up, but as she focused on her career and future, her past stayed behind. Now she works for a big firm, and she is engaged to Owen, a man that is as career-driven as Laura. They have been together for years, but they always change the wedding date. Laura is happy because she closed a very important project for her and the company. Her boss praises her, and she's on the podium to be promoted. The perfect opportunity for her to get the job presents itself when Chip's grandfather, Graham, asks to see Laura. He is a billionaire that is about to retire, and he wants Chip to become the company's CEO. Chip doesn't want to leave his life on Sapphire Island to work in the city. He doesn't care about the money and the lavish lifestyle. He wants to help people and work hard to earn his money. Graham asks Laura to go back to her hometown and convince Chip to sign the contract to become the new CEO. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because her firm would have a billionaire contract with Graham's company. The only thing she needs to do is convince her former best friend to do it. Laura accepts it right away. She tells Owen and invites him to go with her, but he denies it because he has to work. She's sad about his dismissal, but she understands his drive to grow in his company. Laura travels to Sapphire Island by herself. The island is beautiful with turquoise sea water, lush woods, and peaceful beaches. It's the perfect place to relax, though Laura doesn't know how to anymore. After years of working without a pause, she doesn't know how to stop her brain from working overtime. All she thinks about are her clients, the next steps she needs to take, and her promotion. She has to take a boat to arrive at the island, and the captain, a blonde, tall man, tanned and broad-shouldered, flirts with her and makes her flustered. It's Chip, but Laura has no idea. Chip is instantly taken by the beauty wearing formal clothes to a beach. The woman looks severe, but she jokes with him and surprises him. He has no clue she's Laura, the girl he has loved since he was only 12. When she hears someone calling his name, Laura figures out who he is and starts making a plan to get closer to him again. In the hotel, she meets another childhood friend, a woman named Jen, and she's close friends with Chip. She warns Laura that it's going to be challenging for her to make him sign the contract. It isn't the first time Graham sends a lawyer after Chip, and he turns them down every time. Laura is confident that she's different. She's his former best friend, and she bets she can convince him to change his mind. Jen takes her to see Chip again, and he's excitedly playing a game they invented. Laura shows him the contract without saying her name, only mentioning she's Graham's lawyer. Chip refuses to even look at it and turns his back on her. Not one to turn down challenges, Laura decides to bet that if she wins the game, he has to read the contract. Chip is confident that he's unbeatable and accepts it, adding that if he wins, she has to have dinner with him. Laura flawlessly wins, much to Chip's desperation. He's embarrassed because he was overconfident, but when Laura finally introduces herself, he gets why she won. Chip can't believe Laura came back, and he's excited to see her again. Besides being his best friend, Laura was also Chip's first and only love. Seeing her again rekindles the flame inside him. He sees it as an opportunity to do what he should have done years back, to make her fall for him. His plans go down the drain when she shows him the huge engagement ring she wears. He embarrassedly apologizes for inviting her for dinner and asks about her fiancé. Laura talks highly of Owen, and he seems like a nice guy. Despite the pain in his heart at having lost his chance, Chip is happy that she found someone to love. Laura also wonders about his love life, and he explains that he wants to date his best friend. Laura would be the perfect candidate, but she's already taken. Chip also tells her that he's working independently from his grandfather and that he wants nothing to do with the company. For him, it's too much work and he prefers a peaceful life. He works as a captain and earns a salary to pay for his expenses. He also has a side project of helping to build homes for poor people. Laura is impressed by his passion for helping others and how he doesn't care for money. She knew that if she had the opportunity, she would take it without a doubt. After walking on the beach and catching up, Laura informs him that she has to catch a flight since he won't sign the contract. Chip invites her for dinner again, this time as friends. She accepts it. Their friendship goes back to what it was when they were kids. They talk and joke around, feeling comfortable around each other. Laura decides she's going to keep trying to change his mind, using his passion for helping people as an excuse. They have dinner with Jen's parents, but Chip notices that Laura can't stop looking at her phone. She's absent-minded for a portion of dinner, and it bothers him that she can't seem to relax. She was different as a kid, free and wild, and they did all kinds of shenanigans. It's sad to see her so deep into her work that she's losing precious moments around her. Laura tries to call Owen after dinner, but he never answers. Her boss calls her to ask how her work is going, and she complains that she's having difficulties convincing Chip. Her boss suggests she thinks about a solution soon because her promotion is on the line. The following day, Laura is determined to make Chip change his mind. Chip thinks she's a workaholic who forgot to have fun, and that he's going to read the contract the day she learns how to have fun again. She uses reverse psychology to convince him to enter a challenge with her, and he agrees. She's going to do whatever he wants and he has to read the contract. Chip is over the moon that he gets to spend more time with her, and Laura is thrilled that she convinced him. She can already taste her promotion in the air, and all she needs to do is follow Chip's ideas. They go snorkeling and she has a lot of fun watching the colorful fish swimming. Chip even prepared a picnic for them, and he reads a page of the contract while Laura relaxes. Laura admits to him that she missed the island more than she realized. It was such a beautiful place, completely different from city life. Chip reads the first page, but his opinion doesn't change. He knows from experience that he wouldn't be able to do anything to change the company, and he doesn't like the way it works. Laura thinks he can do great things if he puts himself out there, but he disagrees. His life on the island is too good to let go. Jen starts noticing that Chip is interested in Laura again and advises that he gives more consideration to the contract. The next day, Chip takes Laura fishing with their old rods. At first, Laura thinks it's boring because they have to wait a long time. When Chip notices, they start talking about her job. She explains that her job is hard and that her dream is to get a promotion to help small businesses thrive. The only way to do that is to become a partner. That's why she's working so hard. She also likes helping people, one of the reasons why she became a lawyer. For years, she lost sight of it and started working nonstop for big corporations. After meeting Owen, things got worse for her because he is so ambitious and work-oriented. They were the perfect match in the beginning because all they wanted was to focus on their respective careers. Now that Laura is reaching a point in hers that she wanted, she feels as if something is missing in her relationship. Chip says he's happy that she's following her dreams. They have a moment in the peace and quiet, staring at each other with soft smiles. The moment is broken when Laura finally catches a fish. Laura is getting antsy that she can't work and Owen disappeared. Whenever she starts working, Chip appears to take her someplace else. It's not bad, but she isn't used to a calm lifestyle anymore. She tries to decline his invitation to his next adventure, but he insists. They go horseback riding on the beach, which is fun for Laura. They talk more about their lives and Laura wonders why Graham sent her there to convince Chip, not someone else. Chip doesn't say that it's because she's important to him and he always thought about her. He only explains that he has no wish to leave the island, no matter who his grandpa sends his way. The island is his safe harbor, and he doesn't want to move. He also tells her his plans of building houses with his money. And again, she tells him that he could do some good with his inheritance. While they are out, it starts raining and they have to go back. Later on, when she's already sleeping, Owen finally finds the time to call her. He doesn't even know the name of the place she's at, and it bothers her. She never cared for his lack of interest because it was mutual. Now that she had time to relax and think about more than work, she realized that they barely talk. She tells him that she wants to spend their honeymoon there, and maybe they could go horse riding. Owen laughs and says he wouldn't. The last straw for her is when he asks to push back the wedding date again, all because of work. Laura finally understands that Owen is never going to prioritize their relationship, and that they let it get to a point where they barely know each other. They always talk about work in the future and never focus on the present. These past few days with Chip opened her eyes to how she was letting life pass her by. She tells Owen that she wants a break from the relationship. It's obvious it's not working and she doesn't want to do that anymore. Owen is shocked. Despite always thinking about work, he loves Laura and he wanted them to succeed together. Laura says goodbye to Owen and feels as if a weight dropped from her shoulders. The following day, Laura helps Chip fix Jen's parents' house. The house is a cabin in the woods, pretty and cozy. Chip tells her the house is one of his projects, and she's surprised. She mentions that it's her dream to have a house like that. Once again, she tries to convince Chip that becoming the CEO can help him make people's dreams come true. His project is interesting, but he lacks the funds. Chip is still denying that he is going to become CEO. It's the last thing he wants, and he's determined to fulfill his project using his money. When Chip and Laura go inside the house, they overhear Jen's parents talking about how happy they are that Laura is back and that finally they are going to be together. They had no idea, but everyone was cheering for them. It's obvious they have great chemistry and their friendship is strong. Chip is embarrassed and clears his throat before Laura is more uncomfortable. As for Laura, hearing Jen's parents makes her thoughtful. Now that she's officially single, she can think about Chip with no reservations. He's handsome and kind, and he cares about people's well-being, something that Laura loves. The only issue is that Laura has a life in the city and Chip doesn't want to leave the island. After fixing the house, they go back to the hotel and Laura realizes that she didn't touch her phone once while with Chip. They talk about their childhood and how much fun they had. Chip even mentions the treasure chest they buried before Laura left, with a necklace he had gifted her inside. Laura still wears the necklace under her clothes, but Chip doesn't know it. When she's about to tell him that she went back to dig up the necklace, someone calls her name. It's Owen. Laura is shocked that he's there after they broke up, and she doesn't understand why he suddenly decided to go after her. Chip isn't happy either. Owen is in direct competition with him, and the fact that Laura is about to get married to him bothers him. It should be him marrying her. Owen doesn't seem to notice Laura's discomfort and introduces himself to Chip as her fiancé. They decide to have dinner later on and invite Jen so that Laura can introduce them. Dinner is terrible. It's obvious Laura isn't happy with Owen's presence, and Chip tries to be friendly but it falls flat. He's jealous of Chip. They start talking about Laura's time on the island and Owen is left aside for a moment. This allows him to watch Laura interact with her friends, and it's clear she's happy. Owen decides to make a bold move and tells Laura that he decided they should get married right away. Laura doesn't know what to say. That's the last thing she wants. She already decided that marrying Owen isn't what she wants. She just has to find a moment to tell him. Chip swallows his jealousy and tells Owen he's a lucky man. He's feeling horrible inside, seeing the love of his life making wedding plans, but he tries to pretend it isn't affecting him. Laura starts drinking more and Jen tries to defuse the situation. Owen's clueless. He only talks about work and how career-driven he and Laura are. When his phone rings and he leaves the table to answer it, Chip informs Laura that he made his decision. He isn't going to sign the contract. Seeing Owen made him realize that the last thing he wants is to spend his entire life working, and he's happy on the island. Laura can't believe that all her hard work went down the drain. She thinks Chip is being petty after meeting Owen, and it upsets her. She storms off without finishing her dinner. Jen tells Chip that he made a bad move, and he regrets his harshness. Later on, Laura meets with Owen and they have a heartfelt talk. She confesses that being on the island opened her eyes to many things, including how shallow their relationship was. She thinks Owen is a great guy, but they aren't each other's future. She wants to be with her best friend, a person who is always there for her, and Owen isn't that guy. He is sad because he genuinely loved Laura, and tries to change her mind. He promises he's going to be a better fiancé. Laura explains that the issue isn't him, it's her. She realized she changed a lot from the wild girl she used to be, and she can't recognize the woman she became. She wants to go back to being that wild girl, and Owen has different plans. She gives the engagement ring back and they go their separate ways. Meanwhile, Chip has another surprise. His grandpa arrived at the island earlier and he's in Chip's house. He's going through Chip's memorabilia from his time with Laura. He kept everything. Letters, drawings, and trinkets. Chip is too upset after dinner to talk to his grandpa, and he's annoyed that Graham sent Laura there to convince him to sign the contract. Graham explains that he knows Chip is capable of being a good leader, and he wants him to accept the position. The company isn't the way it was when Chip's father was the CEO, and he could make some changes if he wanted to. Chip doesn't want it. Noticing Chip is upset about Laura, Graham comforts Chip. He's certain that Laura and Chip were made to be together, and he should be patient. When his grandfather leaves his house, Chip angrily tears the contract. He thinks that Laura is only there because of the contract, and it hurts him. To his surprise, the following morning Owen approaches him with some news. He and Laura broke up for good. He tells Chip that he has never seen Laura as happy as she was when talking to Chip and Jen. It's obvious that she loves the island and her friends. Chip is surprised that Owen doesn't seem upset, and he even tells Chip that Laura is happy with him. When he leaves, Chip instantly regrets the way he behaved during dinner, acting jealous and bitter. Meanwhile, Laura is crying her eyes out. Her life is a mess. She broke up with her fiancé, she has feelings for her best friend, and she's about to lose her promotion. Jen comes to the rescue and comforts Laura. She invites her to do a spa day with her to relax and forget her problems. Laura from before wouldn't accept it. She would probably bury herself in her work to forget her issues. Now, she goes without questioning. It's exactly what she needed. She relaxes and talks to Jen. Her old friend tells her that Chip would never leave the island, and that gives Laura an idea. She quickly leaves Jen and goes back to her room. She draws a new proposal for Chip, one she thinks he isn't going to refuse. As for Chip, he finally finds the courage to go after what he wants. He goes to Laura's hotel room and invites her to a midnight hike. Laura says yes. Chip is so happy that he celebrates, and Laura is no different. During their hike, Chip apologizes for his behavior the night before, but Laura brushes it off. She admits that going back to the island changed her perspective on a lot of things, including her work and relationship. For years her life was about work and her career. She met a man that was just like her, ambitious and hardworking. Laura was so busy worrying about her clients and promotion that she never realized how miserable she truly was. It only took a few days away from Owen and her job for her to see that there's more to life. Seeing Chip again reminded her of how happy she was living on the island. They watch the sunrise together, and Laura confesses that she understands why Chip doesn't want to leave the island. She had a great idea for him to keep living on the island and become the CEO. She added in the contract that Chip could decide where the company's HQ would be, so he could still work on the island. For the first time since she arrived, Chip thinks about the proposal. His main issue was solved, and he could make it work. He would also have a lot of money for his project, as Laura mentioned before. He tells her he's going to read it and give her an answer. Laura is happy that she caught his attention, and Chip is happy that he went on a date with her. They are almost kissing for the first time, but they are interrupted by a group of tourists arriving. When they distance themselves, they aren't awkward and their eyes are filled with promises of what is to come. When they return to the hotel, Chip and Laura help Jen to prepare for Graham's birthday. Her boss calls her to give her the good news. Laura's the favorite to become a partner in the firm. The only thing she needs is Chip's signature at the end of the day. Laura's good mood goes down the drain because it's too fast for her. Not only that, but Chip is unpredictable and she thought she would have more time to convince him to change his mind. She tells him that her boss wants an answer, but he doesn't confirm or deny anything. It makes Laura nervous and anxious. They go back to being awkward around each other, and it's awful. Jen notices they are stiff and silent, and decides to intervene. She asks them to dance so she can test the lights and sound, and they get closer. At first, there's an awkward silence between them, and it's as if their date never happened. Chip has a lot on his mind, and he wonders how important Laura's job is to her. She explains that for years she tried to make some changes, but it was hard when she didn't have any power. With the promotion, she could do what she wanted. Chip asks if that is going to make her happy, but Laura doesn't know. Her job doesn't seem so important after her period on the island, and she's confused. Chip confesses to her that he wishes she was happy with him, and it surprises Laura. She asks if he is ready to be CEO, and he replies that he doesn't know. Instead of trying to convince him again, Laura decides to enjoy the moment and whatever happens, happens. After talking to her and realizing how important her job is to her, Chip decides to sign the contract. Graham arrives right when he's gluing the contract's pieces back, and Chip finally tells his grandfather his conditions to accept the CEO position. He wants to work on the island, and he wants to make a difference with the money. Graham surprises him when he says that he chose Chip to be the CEO because he had his heart in the right place. He doesn't care about changes in the company and even thinks they are necessary. Chip doesn't feel as anxious as before with his grandfather's reassurance, and he finally signs the contract. Meanwhile, Laura is in her hotel room nervously waiting for the deadline. When her boss calls her, she tells her that she failed and Chip didn't sign the contract. To her surprise and shock, her boss informs her that he did and that she got the promotion she wanted. Laura is really happy and excited, thinking about all the changes she's going to make in the firm. Her boss tells her that she has to come home right away so they can start the transition. It's Graham's birthday and Laura appears wearing a beautiful dress. Chip is speechless by her beauty and he's anxious to confess his feelings to her. Laura isn't as happy because she has to leave and go back to reality. She tells Chip and Graham that she's going to leave that same day, and Chip is speechless. When she leaves, he gets upset again that he's going to lose his chance with her. His grandfather tells him that he shouldn't give up, and that there was a reason why he chose Laura to convince Chip to sign the contract. He knows they are meant to be together, but Chip has to tell her that. Chip has an idea of confessing his feelings to Laura. He's going to dig their treasure chest and give her the necklace back. Laura is ready to leave. She says goodbye to Jen, but she can't find Chip anywhere. Feeling sad and morose, she calls her boss to tell her she's leaving. Her boss tells her that for the following days, Laura has to jump through hoops to prove she's a good partner, and Laura is upset. She thought that her life would finally be easier and that she would have some power to make decisions. She can't believe that she wasted so much time and in the end it was worthless. At that moment, Laura decides she has had enough. She tells her boss that she doesn't want the position anymore, and goes after Chip. Meanwhile, Chip dug up the treasure box, only to find out the necklace wasn't there anymore. Things are worse when he goes back to the party and Jen tells him Laura has already left. He wants to cry when he hears that. He thought they were going to get their happy ending, but he lost her again. He goes to the beach with the box, needing some time alone. Laura chooses that moment to appear and surprise him. She tells him that she never forgot about him and that she went back for the necklace because she wanted something to remind her of him. She shows the necklace she never takes off and Chip is shocked. All those years and he thought she had forgotten about him, but she missed him too. Laura tells Chip that she decided to stay on the island and open her own law firm. She wants Chip to be there with her, and she's going to help him with his project. Chip accepts it with a big smile on his face and confesses he loves her. He has always loved her. Laura replies that she loves him too. He's the love of her life. They finally kiss while fireworks explode in the sky. After many years, Chip and Laura finally got their happy ending.